On the Table podcast, where everything is on the table but nothing is off limits. Today, I am going to be telling you all how we're going to be selecting our first co-host, and then how we're going to be selecting the ones after that. Now, obviously, we're not going to have like 400 co-hosts. We don't even have 10 people on the server as of today. But we will see what the future holds. If this podcast will grow to 10 or beyond, we don't know. If it'll just die out, we don't know. Hopefully it grows. That's all we can ever really hope for, but I will try not to let it die. Everything I can to make sure that we do grow, but but with that said, here's that. Oh, no, what are you doing? Sorry, my dog decided almost, my current ghost, has almost decided to put his head on the keyboard or the computer, which then the ears are on the keyboard, and yes. So, yeah. And why? Because he wanted to build it up, of course. The reason I'm playing FS19 right now is because for some reason it doesn't, which I'm glad at this, it doesn't seem to run my system as hard. I'm actually going to be doing some testing over the course of the next few days as I get the chance to test on if what runs system more, if it's hard, like if it's disc games or downloaded games, and then I'll share the result with you all. But that is for another. That'll probably be this weekend, so I'll probably do that, and I will share those results with you all. One second, as I just go ahead and put this link into the podcast server. If you want to join the podcast server, please go ahead and join the link below. It should be the first link, I believe. So, yeah, right now, not many people in there, but the more we get in there, the more there will be. So, how the first co-host selection process is going to be is I'm going to give everybody that wants to be a co-host, I'm going to give them a chance to join. They'll have either a week or a weekend podcast. It depends on how often I podcast that week. Because like I said in the like it says in the podcast schedule, I have recently gotten a new, well, it doesn't say it specifically, but I've gotten a new job. I've got a ton of stuff to do IRL when I'm not working, so I'm being kept pretty busy, as well as trying to do some recording, trying to do some other stuff on my channel. So all that takes time. So don't worry, podcasts will happen. They will be scarce to begin with, and then I know there's a podcast schedule. I would do my absolute best to follow that podcast schedule. But it's probably going to take another good week or two before I can figure out exactly when I can podcast. The schedule might change, and of course it'll change depending on what time I usually work nights, so I should be a podcast during the day, EST. But yeah. So anyway, how the first co-host is going to be selected is you just tell me, hey, I want to be co-host, and then I'm gonna do it for one person at a time, so I kind of keep track of everybody, and then I'll write it down, and then whether you get it or not, I will not tell you until the following, or until the process is over, basically, until everyone has tried out, and then until I've actually chosen a co-host. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm looking for, because I'm going to build a cheat system. Not that you might, but some people might, so you never know. So we're gonna do it that way, and then everyone gets again. So I'm gonna try and keep it fair for everybody. It just depends on how often I host, and how often I podcast, and so yeah, and that's how the first co-host is gonna be selected. And of course, my first co-host is of course Waffle My Pappy. Yes, he's right here next to me. Joins me for every podcast. And he is the cutest co-host. So, just not... there you go. Alright, so, the second co-host is going to be selected through hard-working determination to the server, which really the podcast, which basically means, you start off at the bottom, which everybody is going to start at the bottom, except for the first co-host. And of course, once you have the co-host spot, doesn't mean that you keep it forever. If you abuse it, or whatever, then you do something wrong that is big enough for it to get removed. I will remove it from you and find someone else to be co-host. So do keep that in mind. Just because you got co-host doesn't mean it's permanent. Second co-host will be start off at the bottom. I think there's 3 or 4 positions that you can be from the bottom. Help the server, help people in the server, and again, there's not a whole lot of people in the server right now, which, hopefully there'll be more people. I'm, trying to get more people in here every single day, but, it's gonna be, every server has a slow start, so we will grow. With your help, we will grow, so, advancement in the server is gonna be quite difficult and quite long because there's not that amount of people. So, yeah, there's that. Let's go ahead and discuss a few things. I believe, which really just discuss a few things, but kind of bring up a thing or two here. If if you want to see us discuss something on the podcast, you can obviously put that and suggest topics that I do in the podcast server. If you want to see something added, you can also give feedback. So basically, this podcast, I know it's not going to be a very long podcast. I do apologize for that, but I just figured I'd update you all. So quick recap. There'll be co-host tryouts. For the first co-host anyway. The first co-host spot, there'll be tryouts for, and then I'll probably have 1 or 2 co-host spots after that, after we get more people in the server. So those will be, through hard work and determination in the podcast server, which again, if you want to join the podcast server, I totally would. The link is in the description below. Should be the first link. And then of course we have the podcasts are going to be, I wish I could tell you when I'll be able to do podcasts. I mean, I actually had today off. I had Monday off, and I meant to do one then, but I totally forgot. I do apologize. But if I can find the time to do podcasts, I'll do one. I'm gonna try and look at some news, which that's also one of the spots you can have is news research team, which that's a really great way to help out the podcast. Is to go ahead and just find some news articles and how you be the podcast news researcher member, whatever that is. I think it's podcast news team, whatever. I forget the name of the role. I'm not looking at it right now. But basically, all you do is DM me saying, "Hey, I want to, be podcast news team," and all you gotta do is send me some links. Like I'll tell you if it's just send me some links, some general, news, or if it's a specific type of news like tech, gaming, economy, mass shootings, whatever. And it's got to be pretty recent news. I mean, now if it's big, it doesn't have to be super recent. Something you feel like that should be covered. And obviously it can't be 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 30 years ago. But it's got to be a reliable news source. It can't just be some blog update that someone posted, because it's got to be reliable news. That is a really great way to help out this server, because I want to start reading news articles again like I used to. So this will be. So we'll figure it all out. But for now, I'm going to end this podcast. If you want to, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Leave a like, leave a comment, join the podcast server, leave your feedback. In the feedback, there actually is a feedback text chat in the Discord server. So if you want to leave your feedback, please be as detailed as you want. I will not take anything personally. Even if you are saying personal against me, I will take all criticism and think about every single word that I read. Unless it's late at night, my brain's kind of fried. But I shouldn't be doing that, because I'll try not to read it late at night when my brain is fried. But do all that, stay awesome, and as always, we will catch you later. Thank you all so much for joining us at the table.